moving on to our last speaker for today, Mr. Mirza Asrar. Let me share my screen. Dr. Nancy, if you allow me, by stopping sharing your screen. Thank you so much. Mr. Asrar, I have attended so many presentations for you before. He was presenting on the Technology and Business Society once, and I was really interested about his presentation. So Mr. Mirza Asrar is going to talk today about surviving at the pinnacle of the digital age. Mr. Asrar is a serial entrepreneur, business builder, heading the first and only cybersecurity research and development tech company in the Arab world. He is best recognized as the founder and CEO of CTM 360 in Bahrain, which stands for the Cyber Threat Management Company, and IT Matrix in Saudi. Mirza is a computer science graduate from King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals, KFUPM in Bahrain. He also holds passion for research and innovation in the GCC and has served the information security requirements of the GCC financial sector for over 20 years. During this time, he has also contributed to the region via speaking engagements and providing insights into threats specific to GCC organizations. He has also partnered with the Bahrain Institute of Banking and Finance, the BIBF, to provide cybersecurity board briefing sessions for board members and C-level executives. Let us welcome Mr. Mirza Asrar.
Thank you, Aisha, and thank you, Dr. Faye, for organizing this wonderful talk today. All right, let me share my screen.
Yes, please go ahead.
Is it there? Yes? Yes. Okay, great. Nancy, excellent. Thank you for your talk. It's the excellent preamble sort of, or let's say that I'll be talking similar to you, but on a different wavelength, but it is very similar to what you're talking about. I'm really very excited about the future, where we are going. And also Janelle was in the morning when she was in the late afternoon when she was talking, and she gave us the 4 stories. So I look at it as parallel universes. And I say that even at this moment, we are all living in parallel universes. Some of the people don't realize what's happening around us. There are some people who are saying there are these problems, and people like Ilion have already solved it. They're way ahead. And the rest of the world has to really catch up. So I call it that we need to understand which universe are we living in, even right now, and how do we move on? So it's like we have to be choosing what is the ride we want. So we have a choice right now. In the end, we will all arrive in the same place. What Janelle was mentioning about the post-Anthropocene era, and she was saying which story you want to be in. I think we don't have a choice. We will all end up there. The only thing is, it could be very bloody till we get there. Like she mentioned about that there could be an event in between, just like COVID is there, which will make us wake up. But there could be more such events, or something similar may happen, or if people start realizing, people like the ones who we have been listening to today, if they are able to make an impact and the world changes faster, then we may be able to avoid the bloodshed till we reach that final post-Anthropocene era. But we are going to get there sooner or later. And we have to understand this, that this old story which we used to be listening in our childhood, and which everybody knows, that there is the race between the turtle and the rabbit, and the turtle wins the race because slow and easy is supposed to win the race. It's no more. The story has to change now. Agile culture is the winner. The rabbit has definitely to win now. There is no choice. There are too many threats behind us, and we have to be moving really very fast. Whoever does not move fast would lose. What happens is that we are going through this 4th industrial revolution, which my esteemed colleagues today were talking about, and this industrial revolution where we are in now today, the phase of intelligence, we need to realize the kind of growth we are going through. We are familiar with the linear growth. Each time we went through an industrial revolution like steam or electricity or computer, there was a linear growth. We just grew a step and then kept on again on that same pattern. What we're expecting now or let's say what we were expecting was in 2025, artificial intelligence will again give us a boost and we will again do a big leap and again we'll go steady, but that's not really the case. This AI and what Nancy was mentioning about the BCI is going to take us in a very different path. And what Mohammed Al-Sahi and Nancy both were mentioning about the COVID impact, what I see as is COVID has brought this forward. So the effect which we were looking forward to is going to happen now. So I call it the COVID effect 221. So we should start going on to this exponential growth. Yes, right now the global economies are sort of slowed down, but we will very soon come out of it. And everybody is trying to do this irreversibly in a new manner. So very soon this exponential growth will be visible. Now for this exponential growth, as His Excellency was saying in the morning, in the early afternoon, sorry, about the part that the education system has to change. And we have to come up, exactly that has to happen. The current education system is not at all adopting, and Nancy rightly pointed it out also. We have to have a very different approach to education. You cannot have it anymore in the same manner. This is just a statistic saying that 65% of children entering primary school today will ultimately end up working in completely new job types that don't even exist today. Now, they've predicted before that 75 million jobs will disappear by 2022. I think it will change now. We should say 75 million jobs have disappeared in 2020. And now there are all the new jobs, because the prediction was there are 133 million new job roles will come up. But are we ready for it? Do we even understand them? That's where the challenge is. And that's where technology is already solving it. We just need to take the right initiative at a government level or be it at the, let's say, the private sector. So this growth, if we look at it in this graph, which gives you that the human progress over time has been across even the previous industrial revolution, sort of a linear. Now we are right here where we are going to go to an exponential growth. And that is taking us towards singularity. That is what Nancy, I think, was saying with the BCI. That's the point where machine intelligence will bypass humans. So what's going to happen after that? That point of singularity where machine is bypassing is taking us to really abundance. Up till now, if you look at the history of human species, we have been driving as a society based on scarcity. If things are not scarce, people don't really, like even today's corporate world doesn't want to look at it. Because if it is abundance, you can't make profit out of it. Whereas there is so much abundance around us, and singularity, the road to singularity is already showing us a lot more, and soon we will see so much abundance. So all these questions which Nancy was pointing out to will all come up very soon. But this abundance is already around us and we're ignoring it. You know, this is my backyard. In my backyard, I have this moringa tree with the moringa bean sprouts there. These are called the drumsticks. What many people don't know is this is called a superfood. Now this moringa tree is normally in the Asian countries, but it's very sturdy and it is grown in Bahrain. Wherever you plant it, it will grow. It doesn't really require so much attention. It can grow even with low water. And look at the kind of nourishment it is giving us. And this nourishment now slowly is being picked up. It was not picked up in the past just because it was abandoned. This superfood takes care of so many things. This is, I think, one of the main, or one of the very few trees where you can eat everything, even the leaves, even the bark. I make powder out of it. This is me, in my backyard, just about 6 weeks back, taking down the leaves as well as the beans. And I freeze them and I eat them every week. I have a special dish. And then every day I drink the green powder. So this abundance is there, already there. And the new technologies and the enablement, like when we talk about water and then we say there is a shortage of potable water, you just need energy, and there is so much energy. And if you really focus on solar energy and do it right, then you have enough water anytime, every time, everywhere. And it's sort of already solved. The problem is sort of already solved. Elon, when he started with his electric vehicles and so on, he has already changed the mindset. This digital transformation which we are going through is driven by artificial intelligence, which is driven by machine learning, by big data, and so on. These underlying industries, all of this all together is the fourth industrial revolution. This is completely changing the world. Now the choices for the private and the public sector is either you will be the one who will disrupt or you will be disrupted. It's going to happen. There is no two ways about it. It's happening faster than ever. Banks, the traditional banks, have been predicted to disappear by 2030. I think now, again, the COVID effect will make it like by 2028 maybe, or 2027, the traditional banks will disappear. But look at the title of my slide. It says Tech Fin Disruption. It does not say FinTech disruption. This is what Sandra, I think, was trying to point to. This is very different. FinTech is really only taking the banks and transforming them by optimizing them. It's not really changing. It's not bringing in the new generation of the financial services. The new generation of financial services are only coming by technology companies. They are the new banking. And once you realize that, that is transformation. So in my humble view, FinTech is going to disappear. TechFin is the one which will survive. And if you understand that, then and you apply it across all other industries, you will realize what will survive in the future. If you look at it on the same aspect, Ant Financials, which is a company belonging to Alibaba, which is a technology company had to transform and get a license and become a financial company because it became so big. It is not a bank which was coming up with new generation of financial services. It was a technology company which came in and became bigger than any of the banks. They have over 480 million subscribers. They have the world's largest money market fund. They're transacting over 1 billion per day through WeChat and Alipay. This building I'm today sitting in, my office is in Citibank building in Bahrain. It took 200 years to get 200 million customers. And Alibaba, they got 800 million customers in 20 years. 4 times the customer in 10% of the time. This is the big difference. You look at it on other industries, again, the same part of optimization and transformation. Google AI is there, which is now detecting breast cancer from mammograms and so on, and the scans. But that is still transformation. Optimization. That is not transformation. Transformation is when you will have nanobots, which will be going through your bloodstream. They will be detecting, and not only detecting, they will be administrating the medicines then and there. And they will also be communicating with the computers outside to give information about your body. That is real transformation. And it's not far, it's already, the experiments are all being done. Within the next 10 years or less than that, we will have these nanobots in our bodies. So what is needed for all that? The one part, the one skill, which is everybody needs to master, is to learn fast, the ability to learn rapidly. The schooling system currently would not work. As Nancy was pointing out, it has to be a completely different way of thinking. We have to come up with a completely different way of education system. How do we do this rapid learning? How do we do design thinking, critical thinking, strategic thinking, exponential thinking? These are the main areas we need to be learning on. The creativity we have to be coming up with. Peter Diamandis, along with Elon Musk and so on, they are the ones who are showing us the road. And Peter made this comment a while back that entrepreneurs like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are working to make sure that within the next decade or two, the human race has the potential to move irreversibly off the planet. And it's happening. Peter has come up with a book. If any of you get a chance, please read that book. The book name is Bold. He has described this concept with 6 Ds, starting from digitization, deception, and so on up to democratization. I'll not spend time on it today, right here. Otherwise, I'll take another 10 minutes just to explain these, but please do read this book. A lot of times I show this picture in my talks and ask people, do you know what this is? And at least 90% of the people or more don't know what this picture is. This is Elon Musk's Starlink project. I think last week, his 10th rocket went up. Each of the time rocket goes up, 60 satellites come out of it. And they are visible by naked eye when they are on a lower orbit. And even from Bahrain, they are visible. That you can go out at night sky and you can see these satellites going by. These satellites, the whole project plan with Elon is that he wants to put the whole or wrap the whole world with all satellites, all together 42,000 satellites, because he wants to give free internet to everybody. Now, what will happen to the ISPs? This is a question maybe which ISPs are not thinking. Maybe regulators will think to block him. Eventually, countries will try to say, you can't give internet in our country. But that's not going to work. It will change. You will be putting a small device with you anywhere, and you will be able to get free internet at a very high speed from his Starlink project. And this will start this year. The internet will be available this year in certain areas of the Western hemisphere. You know, this picture, I love it because normally when you show the picture, people think it's a rocket taking off. He even reversed it. These are the rockets landing back. So the rockets which go to this space, they come back and they land. The other kind of change, if you want to imagine the technology will bring, is that all the way we are trying to consume today, like the cars, when you look at the data in Bahrain, over 700,000 cars were registered in 9 months last year. And every year, 10% they increase. By next 5 years, it will change because we don't need so many vehicles. With the new autonomous vehicles, we don't even need to own vehicles. With the new transportation systems, we will be having a liberty of having many ways of transporting ourselves from point A to point B, and we don't need to really own things. That is dematerialization by what Peter talks about. So the car numbers will start decreasing actually. This is the change. Here's another change which started a while back where Urban Food Policy Pact was done with 209 cities with 450 million inhabitants. They've all decided that those cities will produce all their own food. We have got such urban farms. These urban farms are being run by solar power, and they are producing organic food. We don't need pesticides. And you can even have a smaller unit and you can run it in your house. So this will bring about the abundance. Yes, the corporate world will have a difficulty with it. The monopoly guys who are controlling the food supply in the world, they would have a difficulty with it, but they can't stop it. It's going to happen. Data is a new oil. Everything is run by data. And what you need to understand is that any businesses, they are driven by data, and you have to look at a business like WhatsApp or Facebook. What are they? Is WhatsApp a messaging platform? Is Facebook a community platform? No, they're not. They are data companies. They harvest data. They are using the platform as a hook to get data from you. Once they get that data, then they sell as data intelligence. So data is driving, but yes, there are a lot of ethical and privacy issues. There are all of these, exactly like Nancy mentioned. We need to be thinking about where it's really going to be favorable for the general population in the world, and how we will benefit without compromising the privacy. And this will happen. Yes, we may go through a rough patch. Yes, corporate world would try to hold it in a different manner, but we can't stop it. It's going to happen. The change is coming. I want to leave you last with this thought. It's a futuristic thought. This is because I belong to Pakistan. This is my passport. So how is it going to transform? The citizenship optimization is this new passport card, which is doing multi things with it. It's also a payment card. It also will be used in so many entry points. But I think the transformation is when we are without any boundaries. And without any boundaries, we will actually have different type of digital citizenships. It could be any of the technology companies, where it means that a country would lose its citizens to digital companies. And there will be many new digital companies will pop up with the right kind of ethical set of values. And they will be providing you so much which are normally you take from your country. So they will become your social insurance. They will become your health providers. And with them, you would be able to access health anywhere in the world. So you have to think, what will happen to these boundaries and these kind of passports? The future will be different. When we get into 2040, we will be holding some digital passports. Thank you. Just change the mindset. I'm done. I hope I didn't take much time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mirza Asrar. You have came across very interesting facts that we were really, fascinated when you mentioned the race of the rabbit and the turtle, and how we were raised in a way to believe that this was reality and how it's not. You have also tackled the moringa tree, which was planted in your house, and I know how this tree is special and how it affects your body in a really positive way, and I'm sure the audience today. Yeah, absolutely, yes. And the interesting part as well was the optimization and transformation, and how you brought the term fintech and techfin. Yeah, this was really interesting. Thank you very much for highlighting those facts. You have really pinpointed important things, and thank you for your critical thinking, to be honest, Mr. Asrar.